Okay, so we've already seen how this program executes, and we saw that what happens is the main program gets executed first, and when it reaches a function call, it jumps out and it executes the function itself. The function itself, that's made up of the heading and the body, is also referred to as a function definition. That's the whole function. So this thing right here, the function, is known as a function definition. And as I said, the whole thing, the function definition, is made up of a heading and a body. So you kind of need to be familiar with the syntax. It's very important, or the terminology, I should say. Okay, well, a lot of programmers, since the main program executes first, they like to have that as their first function. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my other two functions and I'm going to kind of put them in the order in which they happen. All right, first the main program starts executing, then it'll jump out to first and execute that. Then it'll jump out to second, execute that. So that's kind of the order it happens in. But if I run my program now, we're going to see it doesn't work. And the error message I have is first identifier not found, second identifier not found. This program really, the compiler executes it sequentially. So when it hits this function call for first, it doesn't realize what first is. You could say, hey, it's a function down here. Yeah, but it would have to see it first up here in order for it to understand what it is. So this is a problem, but this is generally the format that most programmers will use when writing functions. And this is the format that you should use when writing functions. So in order to get this to work, we're required to put what's called a function declaration, or a prototype, for each of these functions prior to main. It's pretty easy to do. You just take the heading of your function, you copy it, and you paste it up here prior to the main program. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one. And they have to have semicolons. So notice, the declaration has a semicolon at the end. The heading does not. Except for that, they have to be an exact match. And now, if I run this program, it's going to work because it's going to understand what those functions are going to require. So it's just like when you declare a variable, when you say, you know, int x, then any point in the program after this, I could use x. So that's a variable declaration. These are just function declarations. It tells the compiler there's going to be a function name first, located somewhere, you know, in our program. It's not going to require any information to be sent to it, and it's going to be a void function, meaning it's not going to return any values. So again, terminology, right? This is a function. It could be called a function declaration or prototype. And then down here is where we have our function definitions. Here's one of them. You know, and this is also a function definition. So there's really some terminology you have to be aware of. And here is where we have a function call. All right, so the terminology and what you call things is very important. If I ask you a question like, you know, please look at this prototype and explain something, you have to know, you've got to come up here and look at the prototype. All right, so that's how function declarations or function prototypes work. That's what their syntax looks like, and that's why they're required to be in the program.